All the peace
We're
signs.
back. We're
Millennial
back.
peace signs.
It's going.
I'm in a
It's going.
different location today.
Because you are going away, you lucky, lucky thing. Where are
I
you off
can't wait. Pittsburgh. I'm gonna go
to?
and support my girl Frankie and Phoebe as well. Phoebe's competing there, so super excited to just go and scream my head off in America and embarrass myself in front of them. I'll see if they tell me
No,
to be quiet.
they won't. I think you've got to bring the vibes, haven't you? And like it's America, isn't it? Like I'm sad I'm not going. I'm very sad I'm not going. Anyone that knows me and Matt knows that that is basically our second home. Any chance that we can get to go out there, we will be there. Holiday or work or just any excuse if we've got some time. So Matt is still going because he has Tamas competing. So it's weird because we'll
Yes,
be in the same place. Because I thought I was going to be out there with you for at least 1 week, crossover in Miami, but I'm not going now
yes.
because of Harry, but that's fine. He's the
Is
only thing I'll ever let off for my reasons for not going anywhere.
I hope Harry's okay. Bless him.
Me too. He's got more appointments in 2 days for more scans, but we'll find out. But yeah, he's the only reason that will ever stop my travels. But we're going to go to the Olympia in Vegas end of the year, so it's fine. I'm still going to get my
Mhm.
America fix, so it's all good. But yeah, I will live through
I
you. So
I
you
would.
live.
Oh yeah, tune into Scoff season because I think you'll probably see more on my
Yeah,
Scoff season page than you
I've
will
already
anywhere
given Matt
else.
a
Because
list of things to bring back.
I just yeah, I can get a bit carried away in Walmart.
I
It's
love
just
Walmart.
it's
Literally
just the
between the
best.
coffee mate and then like it's even thing is, it's
Coffee
not even
mate.
I know it's not even like yes they've got fun foods, but I am a bugger. We've already established that we're both the
Mm.
same, that we do import a lot of food from American websites. So
Yeah.
it shouldn't be that exciting. But even just it's so stupid going to America and getting like the salad but in boxes. So just getting a big box of
Hmm.
spinach. It's so stupid. But because it's done differently, I'm like, I'm gonna have a chicken salad and it's gonna be amazing because it's from American Walmart.
I
So
just
stupid.
get fascinated by how big the portion sizes are.
So big.
It's mental. Like I
Have you
remember
ever
I went to Vegas. My friend was like, I ordered a burger and fries and a milkshake, and he was like, "You're not going to eat all that," and I was like,
she's buckle
"Of
up?
course I ate it all."
Yeah. I mean you wouldn't be right if you didn't. If have you ever had the legendary protein crisps?
No.
Okay,
Oh,
so
you've told me about these though, I
you'll
think.
be able to get them in Walmart. Get the pizza
Hmm.
flavor. The taco flavor is quite
Okay.
nice. But again,
Yeah.
you getting protein out of crisps, but they're way better than like the crap we have over here. So that would be something I
Okay.
suggest. And I actually do really like the Chris Bumstead protein as well that's out there.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. I might have to see if I can get
It's
hold of
really well
some.
in
But
yogurt.
yeah, guys,
Yeah.
if you stuck with us for the first 3 minutes, this is clearly nothing to do
Sorry.
with anything that we're here to talk about. I mean, I'm not mad at it, like, but I
No,
mean, it did start with bodybuilding, but very quickly moved on to food.
we've spoken about it's bodybuilding related food, so just
I mean, I'm
saying.
not planning on eating a lot of bodybuilding related food. I want Cheetos
In
and
and out
or all the
burger.
special edition Oreos,
Cheesecake
Reese's.
Factory is the shit. You can't go to
I
America and
do
not
love
go to
Cheesecake
Cheesecake Factory.
Factory.
Mm.
Yeah, I think.
Interestingly, I love the cheesecake, but actually one of my favorite meals is they have like a chicken salad meal, which can sound so silly
Why
because
do you
I
love
love all
chicken
food. No,
salads?
I really do. So this goes, shit, I do this because I love it. Yeah.
She
But
lives
they
that
do it.
life.
They put it on a really big plate, and it's because we've spoken about flavors, so it's the
Hmm.
flavors. They give you loads of little pots with like loads of little like sauce flavors, and they're big lettuce wrap things. So you just wrap your chicken in it with all these flavors, and it's the flavors I love. So it's not the fat, obviously protein, blah blah blah, but it's the flavors that they give you. And then Matt had like a fried chicken thing with rice or whatever, but that was really nice as well.
Look,
But
I'm a bit weird like this, and comment below if you like me, but I have only been to Cheesecake Factory for cheesecake because the restaurant is called Cheesecake Factory. Like for the same reason that I wouldn't go to Nando's and order a portobello mushroom burger. Like I, it's
oh
chicken.
no,
Like I,
I'll always get a cheesecake, and I'll
no,
always
no, no.
so
But
me and Matt will always have to get a cheesecake separately, so I can
yeah.
have two cheesecakes basically. But I'm not going to go there because if you order off their main menu as well, their food is so good. Like we've had their pizza, we've had everything from that menu, and it is so good at the cheese. So
I'll
you've got
be
to get a main
in my
and a
mind. I'm like.
Do
there's
it.
got to be better places for
No,
burgers and pizzas and all of this
it's
stuff. If
really good.
I go and it's shit, I'm coming. I'll
Depends what
tell
you
you all
get.
about it.
But like even get appetizers because we were like appetizers would be small, so we got like chicken slider bun things or like beef burger slide things, and they come out so big. Cheeseburger spring rolls, they come out with like four of them, and they're huge. And you're like, that's not an appetizer, it's a meal. But yeah,
Yeah, I've just always been a right. It's Cheesecake Factory, so I'm going here for cheesecake, and then I'll go somewhere else for savoury
go for a whole meal.
specialities.
Unless it's in an out burger, then you've got to
I
get a bit.
don't know. I'm not an In-N-Out burger person.
Oh, I
I
like it in
think
an
I
out
think it's
burger.
terrible. I had it once. I was like, I just do not understand the hype.
Really?
Yeah,
What
Wingstop
else is
though.
there?
Wingstop in the States.
Chick-fil-A. I know it's Chick-fil-A, but I always call it Chick-fil-A.
Right. Let's talk bodybuilding.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Unless you just want a
PCA.
whole episode of not talking about
Yeah, if you
bodybuilding.
wanted just a normal episode of what we actually talk about,
By the way, these
okay,
are banging.
they are so good, aren't they?
Hmm.
I liked the berries one. That was my favorite.
I've only tried the cherry. It's USA
Matt
cherry as well.
on brand. Matt
On
really
theme.
liked the pina colada, the pineapple and coconut one.
They are
So,
very good.
mm. Full ball sports, by the way, guys. Just saying.
We've got our own individual codes.
Yeah, you
JD10.
two others. Um, but anyway, PCA. So you were at this show. I'm at
Mhm.
this weekend's PCA show. So this
Yes.
show, the show just been, it was Northwest, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't
Northeast. Northeast.
Northeast. Northwest was the week before, wasn't it?
Week
So
before. Yeah.
Northeast. Then this coming weekend, we have the first timers on Saturday and the naturals on the Sunday. And that's already looking to be busy already because even just at the first timer show, like the masters have been split into short and tall. And that hasn't happened for the beginning of the year so far. So yeah,
No.
I think because it's the last show before the universe, other than obviously the Saturday before universe, hopefully that's where everyone's kind of waiting. You're just waiting to come in.
Yeah.
So
I think there used to be a bit of a myth that it was
mm,
like, okay, the shows in the early part of the year are the dead ones. So like when it came to the first timer shows, it was like, oh, do first timers before Universe or the November one. But I feel like
mm,
now there isn't really a quiet one. Like the March one is always super busy. The
mm,
May one is right before Universe, so people tend to jump into that and then go to Universe. Then you've
yeah.
got First Timers 5, which is obviously like one of the biggest shows of the year right before the British. And I think that the November First Timers has gotten really busy now because of the opportunity to qualify for and do Worlds. So, yeah, I would say that out of all of them, the April and the June one tend to be the quieter ones, but they're not even quiet anymore.
No, because especially like when you think about it, the people doing April because it's your first time to do a show, and then you can do a couple more in the lead up to Universe, and then the June
Hmm.
one is like, okay, let's just get into that one. So you've
Yeah.
ticked it off as your first time. Then you can do a couple two bros, go back into PCA, and like because it don't we, people get caught out. It's your first time. It clues in
Yeah.
the name. So, you know, that is your that if you want to do that in June, you can then do your run of summer shows. So there
Hmm.
isn't, like you said, there isn't like a quieter show. It's just what
No.
aligns with your timeline. I think that's the best way to
Yeah.
think about
I
it.
am expecting next weekend to be busy though, because obviously you have the first timers, then you would expect maybe a lot of the first timers to roll into the naturals because the both shows are at the same venue. So, for those
Mm,
competing in the first timers who are natural, it's a good opportunity to take advantage of being able to do a couple of shows in one weekend whilst you're prepared for it.
yeah. So let's go through. The we only had one in Wales, so no fit model and no
No, there
athletic.
was trained.
Trained with you. Right. Where we
We'll
should
get
do
there
like
one
a
day as well.
I would lose so much money every time I say athletic. No trained and no fit model.
No train, no fit model. I will admit, it was on the quieter side, like
Hmm.
generally as a show. There were certainly some classes where there were no people. Like, if I take men's physique, I don't think I've ever been to a show and seen no one in men's
Yeah.
physique at all. But there
Mm.
was no one in men's physique at all. There was no one in figure toned,
Yep.
which I don't think I've ever seen that either. Um, no one in figure trained. So it was
Mm.
literally just athletic figure. That was it. So it's interesting because I said to you before that like Northeast used to have one of the reputations of being one of the busiest shows in the calendar, but I think that as there are now more shows in the calendar,
Yeah,
people are choosing to go to different locations over being that far up,
yeah.
unless they're based that way.
Yeah, I do wonder if it was busier before as well because it is literally the unless you are doing a first timers or naturals or the Saturday before Universe, it is that last show before Universe. So that
Yeah.
if people were waiting, then that's the show they'd be waiting for. Whereas, like you said, there are just so many other shows now.
Yeah, definitely.
But for wellness, we only had the one girl and we had Kat. So obviously again, I know we said before, standing on stage by yourself. If anything, I would say as well because you can see at the end she just kind of hovers a little bit, and that's just because she's waiting to be told she's won,
Yeah.
basically. So if you are the only one in your class, I know we said before it can be quite intimidating, but
Mhm.
actually you're definitely not going to be rushed. So if
Yeah.
you are the only one, take that as an even bigger sign to just be slow because no,
Hmm.
you've got your reel. So use
Yeah.
that as time to think you've busted your ass for 16 weeks, 20 weeks, however long. Like take your time on that stage because otherwise, once you've
Mhm.
done, you're going to get your placing and you're going to go and the next class is on. So taking your
Yeah.
time means that you can just spend those couple of extra seconds being able to enjoy it a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like looking at Cat, congratulations by the way.
Congratulations.
Like, you can see the wellness shape
Hmm.
there. I don't have any question over whether or not she belongs in this category. I think that one of the things that stood out to me was the variation on her front pose,
Mm.
that I haven't seen before. It's just here now as
Yeah, in a
the front
second.
post is
That.
set with the wider leg out to the sides. And
Yeah.
I assume that's probably with an opportunity to show off the quads a little bit more. I know that PCA, when they first released Wellness, their front pose was different. It was, I guess you would liken it to the, not the NPC IFBB Pro wellness, but the IFBB elite
Yeah, yeah,
side
yeah.
of things,
Yeah.
where it's a more front on, almost like the PCA bikini front pose,
Yeah.
but with a twist and sit to one side. But they
Hmm.
took that out after it it never really took off. Like people were turning up to the shows and not doing it.
Hmm.
So then they reverted to what is, I guess, typically known as the wellness front pose, the one with both legs together.
Yeah. Like the T shape front.
Um yeah, so obviously in your eye walk you can do anything that you want to. I would always recommend to my posing clients that they stay in keeping with the theme of the category that they're doing and don't start throwing out wild random shapes. But it's a good opportunity for her to show off her quads that she's got, because that's the one thing I always say with the wellness poses is even though you are judged on your quads and hamstrings and glutes, that most of the poses don't actually give you the opportunity to show off or flex the quads, which I think is a real shame.
Yeah, unless like obviously as we've noticed with some wellness girls when they walk and then they walk forwards and we're like, now
Hmm.
we can see your quads, but that's not you
Yeah.
hitting a pose. But it is nice to see like when you walk and we can see those quads like proper flickering through that density coming through. But like you said,
Yeah.
in an actual pose, it's quite rare. So doing this pose, I did think it was like, oh, okay, that's a little bit different. And it's definitely
Hmm.
something like I said, the same as you, I wouldn't throw out a pose that maybe isn't on the normal category.
Hmm.
But if you want to kind of stick that pose in there in your eye walk for whatever reason, I mean, it's showing off your quads quite nicely. And as we've said, she's definitely wellness, considering we do like to say otherwise.
Yeah.
We can see, muscle is there, posing is nice, you controlling yourself really nicely, nice big smiles. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's a nice routine. So it'd be nice to see her against some of the other girls. Hopefully, Kat, you're going for Universe, so we
Mhm.
can see you up against some other wellness girls, and then see you in the lineup against them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who else it was? So then we've got juniors. So we had two in juniors. we had, so the winner was Charlotte. So we had Charlotte. Oh, Maddie's come up first, I think. Oh, that's a post down. So Charlotte was the winner. So, so yeah, so obviously with junior, we said before, they are normally a bit softer, like especially if you compare like junior to masters. So
Hmm.
overall, like Charlotte, I'd say she's got a, not as much muscle, but a nice balance between her frame, nice soft kind of. Again, this is where it's nice to think about the tan that you're doing as well. The tan sits nicely. Everything seems to flow quite nicely. She's controlling her poses quite nicely. So yeah, an interesting choice in bikini. I like it, but normally we've been seeing a lot of like bright reds, and this is quite a nice dark red.
Yeah, so I mean, it's funny you mentioned the reds because I wore red 3 times when
Yeah,
prior to now. And I always found that the darker red, because they say that orange, oh, don't pick orange because it blends with the tan. I actually think that
yeah,
the tan is more coppery than it is
yeah,
orangey. And so sometimes the deeper reds can merge with
yeah.
the tan. Like I've got a picture of me where I had a darker red bikini and it on first glance might have looked like I was naked. So, um, but the brighter red sat better on me. But I think it really depends on the tone of the tan and
Maddie,
how
you
it
went for a
takes
bright
on your
red.
skin.
Mm,
Um, because like Charlotte's tone of the tan isn't super dark.
yeah.
And so she can get away with having a slightly darker tone bikini and it still has impact. Whereas if her tan was any darker, I think that the bikini would get lost a little bit and there wouldn't be enough of a contrast between the tan and the bikini to give that pop.
Mm. I think as well, it's even things like hair color because I
Mm,
wouldn't normally say that this would go, but it actually seems to go quite nicely because I
mm.
think sometimes too much warm, it does all blend all together. That's why you
Yeah,
see normally, like with what Maddie's doing here, she came second in junior, you normally do see bright red with a blonde because you've got that contrast.
yeah,
But I think that Charlotte pulls it off really nicely, to be fair. The tones do seem to complement each other. It doesn't look like it's faded in. So that is something you
yeah.
always consider no matter what, like what federation you're in. I know the background's different here because obviously we know a PCA background's blue. But think
Hmm.
about the federation you're going with. Think about the tan, the depth of the tan that you've got, the hair color you've got, and then again the bikini that you're going to wear that's going to
Yeah.
complement you. All goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I know that, like, because I think from memory, and girls, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, this show was, I think, Charlotte's second time on stage and Maddie's first ever time on stage. And so they're both very new to the sport. And I think, if I think about the advice that, let's say, Black Ice give when it comes to picking bikini colors, the advice is always think less about what's going to suit you well and think more about what you feel comfortable and confident in
Yeah.
because if it's the first time that you're doing it you want to feel confident in
Mm,
what you're wearing. And if you pick some obscure color, like if someone says to you, blue suits blonde better, great. But if you don't feel good in blue, then that's going to affect
mm,
how you present yourself on stage because you're not going to feel good about yourself. The same way that, if you picked a dress for a night out and it was a beautiful color, but one that you wouldn't normally wear, you might feel some kind of way about that, and it might
yeah.
make you lack a little bit of confidence in yourself. So, if you're early in your competition career, usually picking your favorite color or a color that you like to wear is recommended because at least you know that way that you're going to um, be
Feel
comfortable
good.
and therefore
Yeah.
confident.
Yeah, 'cause that's like for me, like I see a lot of girls with dark hair wear green. I would
Mm,
not feel comfortable in green. But you
hmm.
stick me in like my standard black, my black is my OG, I feel my best self no matter
Yeah,
what. So my black is my OG and that can be a controversial color. So definitely
yeah,
all about, the most common is always going to be like your reds, your purples, your blues, pinks and things like that. But yeah, absolutely agree. Like wear a
yeah.
color that you are going to feel your absolute best in.
So I think just quickly, sorry, going back to the juniors, I do think it was probably a case of apples and oranges
Hmm.
in that class, in a sense of like, I feel like they were both appropriate for
Yeah,
junior. I think a little bit more condition for both of them wouldn't go amiss.
yeah.
Um, But like one thing that stood out to me is like Maddie's back shot is really strong. Like she's got that X frame.
Yeah.
But Charlotte, I feel like in the rest of her shots was able to get her shoulders up higher, which exaggerated her X frame that little bit more. Um, but I feel like I don't know, from when I watched it, it didn't. I didn't look at the class come on stage and think it was obvious who was gonna win
Yeah.
necessarily. But I think that what probably topped it was Charlotte maybe taking advantage of her structure a little bit more in
Yeah.
her
Like
posing.
here. Yeah. Just bringing those shoulders forward that little bit more, and especially in let's just get her up by herself, especially in that front shot, like you said, just to
Yeah,
really create that X frame that little bit more there.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, both lovely looks, and like I said, considering they're both very new to the sport,
Yeah,
both did
definitely.
very, very
And
well.
I always do like you've said, if that's Maddie's first time on stage, obviously so many people go for first timers. You don't have to do a first, just because you're a first timer, you don't have to do a first timers. Like
Yeah,
there isn't that's not an unspoken rule. So I do like the fact that I think people think they're maybe like out of their depth or that they're not allowed or whatever. If you're a first timer and you want to get on stage earlier or at a different show, do it. Like it really doesn't matter. It's not that much of a bigger deal.
I think as a first timer, you've got to pick your poison when it comes to picking your show because all of the shows come with pros and cons. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? So it's like, the first timer shows are normally stacked. There's going to be lots of people, but you're all going up there on stage for the first time. Whereas like a natural show, for example, again, are going to be stacked, but you know that you're not going up against people that are assisted, but you could be going up against people that have been competing for 10 years. And then you've got your regional shows that might actually be a little bit quieter. So if you're intimidated by the thought of being on stage against lots of people, even though the open regionals will typically attract the experienced athletes, you might actually find that stepping on stage with them, but less of them, might be better
Yeah.
for you. So it's just about picking what works best.
And always know, like, talk to your coach about it. Like, what are you trying to, or what are you wanting to achieve by getting on stage as a first timer? Because, as you said, like, just because, you might be up against assisted athletes, you might be up against people that aren't first timers or whatever, when,
Hmm.
you want to be on an even playing ground or such. This might be a far calmer environment. It might be a more
Yeah.
enjoyable because you'll be done sooner. You haven't got to wait until 7 o'clock at night to get on stage. So, there isn't
Yeah.
any right or wrong, but just know you can chat to your coach of what you want to get from competing and getting on stage and your outcome, and know that there are those options. You don't have to
Yeah.
be pigeonholed to one. That's the reason there's so many of these shows. So knowing that you've got those options is something to always be open-minded about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we had, so this was the busiest class, the 35 plus.
Yeah, my
So we had
client was in this class as
I
well and
know.
came
She came
second.
second. She did really well. Let's talk about your client quickly. We'll go back to Stephanie in a minute.
Sorry,
And she
Donna,
came
you're getting embarrassed now.
so she came second because Stephanie was the winner, and Stephanie was the overall winner as well. So,
Hmm.
she did really, really well.
Yeah,
So,
so
what was
this is my
your feedback for Donna?
yes, this is my client Donna, and like I think when she got off stage, she was absolutely buzzing because it's the first time that she's placed. It's her second competitive season, first time that she's placed, and we were both just happy that the look was improved compared to last time. I think for both of us, like the level of condition was good, but we wanted to see more sharpness through the glutes and hamstrings. So that's something that we're going to be trying to work on to improve. And I've challenged Donna when it comes to her posing to focus more on getting the height and width in her top line. Like, me and Donna have spoken openly about the fact that she doesn't have the widest clavicle. But obviously, the thing that's going to help that more is exaggerating that height and width of what she does have, particularly in the front and back pose. Like, her side poses are quite strong. But we just want to make sure that we're exaggerating her X and S curves as much as possible to help with shape because we spoke about where she got beat, and we think that most of it was going to be structurally, so we just want to make sure that next time she gets up there that she's maximizing her structure as much as she can with what she's got.
You've got great abs. So when she does that walk,
Oh, mate. Abs for days.
But she's got, again, she carries herself really nicely on stage. I like she's taken her time, but she's got nice
Mhm.
flow, like with her posing.
Yes.
Like it's a consistent movement. So she's constantly moving, but in a
Hmm.
good tempo with it. So she's still holding
Yeah.
those poses as well. It's not like a stop, start, and it's not a rushed.
Mm.
So it's a good speed for a good routine.
Yeah, she
Good.
was a little bit flat. I will say that. And I don't know if that's something that maybe some of the other girls might have been feeling, is because the classes moved along so quickly. And this is
Mm,
advice for everybody, right? Is that there were less people in the classes than we thought there were going to be. And so, because of that, the classes moved along quicker, which meant that and this is my mistake, I sent Donna back at a time where I thought she would have enough time based on what a typical show would run like. But because
mm,
it was quieter, she literally had to go and line up as soon as she got backstage. So I don't think she maybe had as much time pumping up as we would have liked. And so,
yeah.
some of the bits that we comment on in terms of like liking to have more condition through her glutes and hamstrings, some of that would have looked better if she'd had a better pump. She was potentially a little bit flat, but again, it's all learnings for next time.
Mm. So then we have Sam, or Samantha, who is the overall winner as well. So mass of 35 plus. So well done, Samantha.
Congratulations.
And again,
Beautiful
this is
structure.
another
That was,
lovely structure. But I was going to say,
mhm.
very interesting choice in bikini as well.
Yes. Yeah, so it's the deeper colors, and I think that,
Mm.
it's not a bad thing. Like, at the end of the day, if you
No,
love your bikini and you feel confident in it, that's
I quite
always the
like seeing
right
the difference.
decision.
Like,
Yeah.
because you see so many of the standard colors. It's quite
Mm,
nice seeing people like take the risks because, especially for me, like when I want to see the tan, the tone, the hair, it's seeing these extra colors. It's nice to see what's working, what isn't. And on paper, if you heard of this, you'd be like, you can't stick that color with that tan, but actually, it looks really nice. To be fair, the
mm.
whole look
Yeah.
that she's got as a whole is a really, really nice look.
Yeah, I think like as you get more experienced, you kind of know what tone your tan goes when you
Yeah.
tan. Like I know for me, for example, despite the fact that I'm almost as magnolia as this wall, um, for some reason the tan takes super dark on me. So
Mm,
when I pick bikini colors, I have to go super bright. For the most part, because otherwise they just get lost on me. And that's
mm.
not typically, I mean, don't get me wrong, as I've worn brighter colours on stage, it's actually made me braver with the colours that I wear in day to day life now. Like I am a bright colours person. Where when I first started bodybuilding, like I wasn't. It was black, grey, and everything in between. so, but I think that what I would typically say is like, if you do opt for your darker colours, I'd probably say if your tan tends to go on the darker side, just be mindful of the fact that it might not contrast as well as against the tan. But if you're comfortable with that and you're okay with that, then that's never a problem. Like the judges, I think it's more of a thing really for IFBB than it is for PCA, that they will make comment on things like your bikini color
Mm.
choices and whether or not they think they complement you, and if there is contrast, and they're very specific about the colors that they like, with it being blue, red, purple, pink, green. And that is pretty well for amateurs anyway. At pro level you can get away with a little bit more flexibility, and you do get the odd person sometimes that can get brave and pick a color that's off piste and get away with it, but typically they have their favorites,
Yeah,
and they
NPC
want
do
that
change it in a
contrast.
little bit more because there is going to be a lot more that is even like your skin. Like I've had the odd bits of psoriasis that have gripped a little bit more with a
Hmm.
tan for IFBB and it's been picked up, but it
Yeah.
wouldn't be picked up too much in PCA. So yeah,
No.
do know the difference as well. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, as far as everything was sound like lovely condition, lovely structure, lovely posing, presentation, like the way she carries herself on stage.
Yeah.
I really like. I like a lot about her physique, to be fair.
Mm. And a very youthful master's look.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, you don't want to say that it matters,
Yeah.
because I think the physique always matters most.
Mm.
But we would be lying if we said that the overall aesthetic when it comes to bodybuilding doesn't play a factor. Of course, it does when it comes to bikini
Yeah.
in particular, things like fit model, because the categories are based on uh fitness models, what
Mm.
you would see in a magazine. So, the whole look plays a part. Like I wouldn't necessarily look at Samantha and think that she was masters.
Yeah. And that's the thing as well. You hate to say it in the sense of
Mm.
like but like how you it is at the end of the day bikini you are being you're entering yourself into a sport that you're being judged by a bunch of strangers by how you look, so
Yes.
bikini you do need to look pretty ultimately, through the ranks that when you get to figure, when you get to the bigger figure categories, when you get to women's physique, women's bodybuilding, it's a bit like men's physique and then classic bodybuilding and then bodybuilding,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there is pretty factor to it, and then the bigger you get they accept that that's it's more muscle based than it may be prettiness, so
Yeah.
you don't want to think like that, but we've touched on it before. Yes, NPC is a little bit more based on this, but
Yes.
ultimately the tan, the makeup, the bikini, how we present ourselves, like it does to a
It's
degree.
it's the
That's
overall package
Yeah,
effect. Do you
what
know what
you
I
bring
mean?
to
It's
that stage,
yeah.
how
Yeah.
polished
And
you are, how put together you are.
yeah, I think with PCA in particular, it's not necessarily a case of she looks younger than her, so
No.
that means she wins. It's more just the case of does it look like the package is
Yeah.
complete. Do you know what I
Have
mean? It's
you
like,
have you bought a package that's put together and that
and I
you've
think
like
when
thought of every detail?
yeah, when I look at Samantha's physique, and I guess this is what I mean about it being youthful, like um, her physique itself doesn't look
Like
grainy or
skin
aged.
tone.
Yeah, and so that matches with her whole aesthetic. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, like, I know that I can look quite hard and grainy sometimes, but that
Me
matches
too.
my aesthetic.
Mm,
Um, and I am reaching closer to 40 now. Do you know what I mean? So it's a package that
mm.
is reflective of me and where I'm at in my journey. Like I don't think they're expecting 65-year-olds to look like a 35-year-old. It's just does the
Yeah.
whole package flow in a way that is complementary.
Yeah, and think as well, like with age as well, for everyone as you go into masters, it's like the reason masters is there because you've got the muscle maturity, you've got the fact that the skin will change and things like that. So it's not to say it's a bad thing at all. It's to say that like I said, how you together your best physique. So
Hmm.
that is going to be just make sure your hair is I know you shouldn't say pretty, but tidy. Make sure your makeup looks good. Make sure like your face and your tan look together. This is every
Yeah.
category. So
Mm.
yeah, it's how you come together as a whole, and then what you present on that stage. Um, and
Actually,
she looks
have
really
we had
good.
two Masters overall winners back to back?
Oh, yes, I think
That
so.
doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't happen. No, let me scroll
I
back down.
think was it Louise last
Yeah, I
week? I'm
want to
sure
say
she
it
was
was.
Masters.
Yeah. Was it Laura? No, it was Laura.
Laura.
Yeah.
Was she
Because I've just
Masters?
clicked on her. Yeah. Um, Laura here. First
Yes.
place, Ladies Masters.
Yeah.
Yeah, she won the overall. So
Yeah.
Masters are dominating right now.
It's just typically, it's you don't see Masters and juniors necessarily
Mm,
coming through and winning the overall as frequently. So to have two back to back, it's
mm.
nice to see.
It's normally the trained people.
Yeah, trained or your standard bikini or
Yeah.
wellness.
Yeah. So then
Um,
we had the 45 plus, but there was only two. There was
yes.
Joanne and Kazia. I want to say Kazia. So yeah, just the two. So Joanne took first place, and I mean
Mhm.
that front shot, the legs,
Strong.
they looked good there. They looked very nice.
Yeah, really good. I think the conditioner muscularity is appropriate for
Mm,
masters. I think, if I was being picky, on physique, because obviously, as we know, bikini is about balance.
Hmm.
And that's not just a condition and muscularity thing, but it is a structural thing as well. And I would probably say that um, the physique is slightly more lower body dominant than upper body.
Hmm.
Not in a wellness way. Like I'm not
No,
saying that you should be wellness. Like I don't mean
no.
that. But what I would say is those quads are so dominant and the glutes are very good that some more delt cap and some more density in the back would just complement that lower body a little bit better to give that X shape
Yeah.
balance that we're looking for.
Yeah, because from the back, like your waist, Joanne looks really, really nice. But I'd say it looks like she's got nice width, but we just need the
Mhm.
muscle on the
Yeah.
width. So
Yes.
when you hit that pose from the front, like to see those shoulders pop through, to
Hmm.
see some lats pop through, that will balance out the density that you have on your lower half,
Yes.
and it will help make your waist look a bit smaller as well to create that illusion of that
Yeah.
X frame. But
Yeah.
like hitting these shots here, we can see there's a nice bit of dense muscle on the lower half.
Crazy good.
Yeah, not wellness. It is bikini at the
Yeah.
bottom, and then it's just building that density on your
Yeah.
frame on top to balance that all out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the thing is, you can have an imbalance in the physique and that not mean that you need to be in a different criteria. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean? Like sometimes I see it with people where they go, "Oh, this person is upper body dominant. They should be figure." And it's like, well, no, if they brought their lower body up a little bit more, then they might be perfectly fine in bikini.
mm.
So like I don't at all look at Joanne and think she should be wellness. It's not that. It's just like we say, to complete the look.
Yeah.
A bit more size in that upper body would just polish it off. Nice.
Then we had, so the next busiest class was the bikini short. So we had four girls in the bikini short. So we had Marina, who won. So red bikinis were vibing on this
Popular.
show.
I mean, they seem to be vibing everywhere because after the New York Pro, I think the fit model, wellness, and bikini
Oh
winners for
yeah,
the
they
pro
were.
show
They were
all had
all
red
red. Yeah.
bikinis.
Yeah.
So it's definitely trending.
Mm,
But I really like this as a bikini look. I think that the condition to muscularity balance was really, really nice. But again, similar feedback to Joanne in the last category that I feel like the lower body is a little bit more dominant than the upper body. And I think some of that is to do potentially with clavicle width.
mm,
But I just think that a little bit more roundness in those shoulders would complement the lower
mm-hmm,
body roundness better.
mm.
And as
I
well, like I don't think that you have a thick waist, but I think putting a bit more twist on those side poses would just exaggerate that waist to glute curve uh,
mm,
ratio a bit better. Because I was looking at it and I was because that the front pose, look at those quads switched on, absolutely epic. I was looking
mm,
at the side pose and I was like, oh, if the hips were just twisted round because they started twisted round and then as the upper body came round the hips kind of came round with them a little bit, which that can work for some people, but I feel like if we can keep those hips twisted a little bit more, that's just going to make that waist to glute ratio look a little bit more exaggerated.
mm. I think it's just a core thing, like a core control thing. So we can see because when she nicely pulls it in, it's really, really tight. And it is hard to keep your core nice and
Mm-hmm.
tight. But I think if whether you're doing, I get my girls to do a lot of vacuums, and it's not to say that you're
Mm-hmm.
going to vacuum on stage, it's to understand that
Yeah,
endurance.
core control. Yeah.
So that could be something that could be quite that they're hard, but quite an easy fix. That if we can control that core in those transitions and those side poses, that's going to make that top line look bigger for the fact that we're
Mm-hmm.
not just going to suddenly build loads of muscle between now and then. So I agree, like if she can build some nice muscle in an off season or something on that upper to balance out how good her
Mm-hmm.
lower is, because the condition but the fullness on her lower is really quite nice. And then
Yeah.
just
I,
posing to open up her back a little bit.
yeah, I was just going to say, I do think some of it is you're very good. Is it Marina, did you say?
Yeah,
Because I can't see it. It's really
yeah.
tiny on my
Oh,
screen. Sorry, Marina. You put more energy into your lower body when you pose than your upper body. So I feel like if you actually focused on uh, putting a little bit more tension into those shoulders and really forcing them up and out,
mm-hmm.
not sacrifice the legs because you switch them on beautifully like that,
To
the
switch
lower
everything
body in that front pose. Yeah, just make sure that the energy that you're giving to your upper body matches what you're doing with the lower body, because
on.
like I think the back pose exposes it the most, because
But
it looks like the glutes are really on and the arch is there and everything's positioned well, but the arms are, everything just seems a bit relaxed from the hips upwards. So you want to
mm,
just think about, right, I want to open up this upper body as wide as I can get it and get those shoulders up and out
mm.
to exaggerate the top part of that X frame to match the lower.
And even in the side poses, the arms just look a little bit pinched. Like, remember PCA, you can bring everything forward. Like, you can really like flex, like make yourself as big as possible on the lower and the upper to really push things out. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think literally just doing that will just help show probably more muscle than we're led to believe that you have by being able
Mm-hmm.
to pop through a little bit more.
Posing is an illusion.
Yeah, they can only judge you on what they see on the day.
Absolutely.
And then we have tall girls. So we had three girls in the tall class, and Tammy was the winner of the tall. Another pin. I didn't even think about this as I was going through everything. Another red bikini. Um,
Yes. I
so
love it though. I think red is a classic.
my first ever bikini was a red bikini.
Was it?
And then I only ever wore it again forever was this year. So all the other times I've competed, I never actually wore red again. But yeah.
I do think red is it's really hard to get the right red though. Like I said,
Mm,
it took me 3 attempts to
yeah,
get,
you've got to
and
find
I had
your
to go for
red.
that cherry red.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't typically wear that kind of red because it's a bit in your face. But on
yeah.
stage, it really pops.
Yeah, having
Like
that nice contrast.
yeah.
Mm,
But I think the thing that stands out to me with Tammy is that the ratios, like tiny,
mm.
tiny waist. And I just think that it's a case of building more density on the frame as a whole. I think more muscle is just going to exaggerate that structure that she has and take it up a notch. But obviously, that's not something that you can do anything about in the middle of a prep. But I think that the foundation is there. I don't even think like more condition would necessarily make this better. I just think it's a case of more development to exaggerate what is already a nice foundation bikini structure.
Yeah, so this is where I would differ to a degree,
Hmm.
just depending on what she's doing, like cardio, food, everything wise, to see
Yeah,
potentially that we could get a little bit more here, but only if it didn't then detriment to go in the other way. Because the last thing you want to do push in for more condition when obviously you want to preserve as much muscle as possible is making sure that you don't start looking too small. But
hmm,
depending where you are with things, how like your food is, carbs, everything like that, if there's a potential to push more, it would be interesting to see if there could be some more on that lower half.
yeah.
But waist, like you said, because there's structure there, like in a build, to be able to build on that structure would be really
Yeah.
exciting. Um,
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think it's always, and we know we're both coaches, right? It's always hard when you have an athlete that has beautiful structure, but is on what I would say the more petite
yeah,
end of the scale in terms of muscularity, because you know what level of condition they need to bring to create the look that they're going for. But sometimes if the muscle is lacking, more condition doesn't necessarily mean that the physique will look better. And sometimes it can actually end up with the structure suffering
and the
if the
last thing
muscle isn't
any
there to
bodybuilder
support it.
wants is to look skinny. Never want to
Yes.
look skinny. There's a difference from being lean and being
Hmm.
like over dieted. So
Mm.
that's where it's down to like your coach, because obviously we don't know the behind the scenes
Yeah.
of, how someone was peaked, if they were, if they're digging, if they're not, to know where the variables are. So
Yeah.
that's what I think, like, is there fat to lose? If you try to lose more fat, will you be, so many people try and search for a glute ham tie, especially like early days, and there just isn't one. And then you like
Yeah.
eat into so much muscle. But if you're in a good spot and potentially, we know we can feel things like that, can you get leaner? So again, judges, this is where it's all again so subjective. Judges are
Mm.
judging what they are presented on the stage.
Yeah.
And yeah, overall, like I really like Tammy's overall structure and physique. Like love
Agree.
waistline, not like the waist, non-existent.
Mm.
Nice full glutes, but yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like, would it be a detriment that I'd start eating into muscles, or
And
would it
I've
be
got to
the
add, I love, I really, really, and Tammy, you'll probably get people tell you not to do this, but I need to get out of there. I think that the traditional style side pose suits you really, really well. Like
yeah.
when you did it at the end, and I was like, it, it just exaggerates your shape, gives that curve
Mm,
on that glute, and really just makes your shape like here.
yeah.
I think that's the side pose for me personally for
Mm.
you. If I was posing you, I'd be like lean on that one because I think it just really gives that exaggerated S curve.
Not, yeah, it's a really nice S shape.
Mhm. But I do wonder again, like, looking at the physique, is it a matter of maybe pumping up a little bit more might have helped this a little bit more? If it was like it was with my client where she didn't have enough time pumping up, then,
Mm.
that could possibly be a factor here. But yeah, just a few different things to think about.
Yeah, but that's everyone basically. So that because we had no trained and no fit model.
Mhm.
So fit model people are letting us down. This is really cool. I'm so excited for fit model this year.
I
So
think nobody turned up because you expressed how much you wanted people to turn up for
I
their
wanted to
model.
turn up. I want it to be like it is such a good when it I think it like as soon as it's done like right, I don't want it to come across like weirdly, but when it's done right, I think it's just going to be so open to what can be, and it's really going to filter through what people
Hmm.
actually do, what
Yeah.
criteria, what class they actually do. But
Hmm.
we've got two back-to-back shows anyway. When it
Hmm.
comes to this, let's get that back to
I'll be
normal.
coming live from Miami next week.
Yeah, so we'll have to work out
Have a
timing.
nice backdrop.
Should be sat on the beach.
Surrounded by Walmart snacks.
Yeah, should be sat outside Walmart in a
I might
trolley.
be a few kilos heavier. If my face is rounder, we don't talk about that.
We
You
don't
just
judge.
say, you look wonderful.
You look well. That's what most people say
Yeah.
post show. You look well. You mean I've got fat?
As long as I've got a smile on my face, then
Yeah, it
that's
doesn't
we're
matter.
sweet. It's fine. I
You
will not
can't
be,
be in America and not be happy.
no regrets.
Yeah.
No
So
regrets.
we will go over. So yeah, I will be at the PCA first timers.
Hmm.
And then there is the naturals afterwards. So hopefully it'll be a nice busy show for us to cover. Then yeah, we'll be working out a time to cover everything. Then it is Universe.
Universe.
So
I love
very
the championship shows. I'm excited.
yeah, it'd be really exciting. So obviously we've got the show on the Saturday anyway, but then obviously big guns on the Sunday. So very excited for that. So
I do
if you
wonder when the first fit model, if they'll give a fit model pro card.
interesting. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out for
Because
it.
technically, every class can get considered. But I think if they do give a fit model pro card at Universe, I don't think they will have a fit model pro class at Universe.
No.
I think like the first time we would potentially see it would either be British or it'll be next year.
Next year. I feel like it makes sense for it to be next year. Just
Hmm.
get a couple pros and then do a pro show. So then at
Yeah.
least that way you've had the universe, you've had the finals, you've had worlds, and then anyone that does the universe next year. So you've got a few
Mm.
numbers. So then you're not
Unless,
just
like I say, you get some fit model pros. Maybe people have been given fit model pro cards in other countries
hmm,
and they come over. I don't
yeah,
know, but I
haven't seen
think it
anything
would
yet, but
be
yeah, it'd be interesting.
unusual for them to not offer a pro card if they have the class.
Hmm. We will keep an eye out. I will be watching the universe as well, so I'll be there in person so we can see what
I'll be
happens.
there too.
Oh yay! I
I'm
keep
coming
thinking,
back for that one.
yeah, you'll be back.
I'll
You'll
be
be back.
back. I'll be very jet lagged, but I'll be back.
It was surviving and thriving off your remaining Walmart snacks.
I was gonna say I'll probably still have a bag of snacks. So if you see me, don't ask to share them because I don't share food.
Like a little raccoon in the corner, just surviving off snacks.
Just guiding my client, like, don't worry, honey, you starve
Just
yourself.
every so
I'll eat.
every
I'll
so
eat the
often,
Reese's
lay your
puffs.
laps, eating your keep
That's
your
the kind of
core
coach
on.
I am. Got hanging out, like bloated. But
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Um,
I'm really looking forward to it.
it's always a vibe, isn't it? So yeah, will be a good laugh. It'll be nice for us to both be together in the same room as well, because we're
Hmm.
just always doing it this
It's
way.
been ages.
Mm.
Um, oh, and as and when we see more coverage from PCA shows internationally, we'll try and include those where we can. So we're conscious that there have been some, but there hasn't been much
Yes, we did
coverage.
see there
So
was a PC Germany, and there was only pictures and there wasn't videos, so we
mm,
couldn't really cover a lot. So yeah, we will be keeping an eye out for them. And if anyone is at any of them and want to take coverage for us and want to take some videos, then we will cover them. But we can't
absolutely
cover what isn't posted or we haven't got
correct.
evidence of. So yeah. But if you ever want us to cover anything else, or you're ever unsure about anything, or you want us to talk about anything, then always do let us know. So that is that. We will leave everyone for another week. We will be back next week to cover hopefully a more busy show. But yeah, as always, like, subscribe, comment, message us, let us know how you're getting on, and we will see you in the next one.
Look forward to it, guys.
Bye.
Bye.